Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's SincerelyOghosa. If you haven't come across my videos before, I upload funny lifestyle and beauty videos. So if you want to see more, please do subscribe. Now today I'm coming with a life update because I haven't actually done one since like last year. And why does it feel like nothing in my life has changed? Things have changed. I probably just can't think of them now, but I will, once I start talking, I'll get into it. So the first major thing is obviously that I moved back home. Now, this actually happened a while ago, like a lot, like pretty much last year. Basically what had happened was, it was just really expensive. It was really expensive, and then it wasn't just the money, it was also the people. Now one piece of advice that I would give to you if you want to move out is just to make sure you know the person that you're going to live with really well. I knew the person, but just not as well as I knew I should, and I did have doubts as well. And one thing like I'm really learning is to just listen to your gut. And I just had some doubts because of the way, like, I'd seen kind of hints of stuff before that was a bit like warning signals I'd seen before, like even before I moved in with the person. And it was just, I don't know, I think I was just like, no, I just want to move out, I want to do it, and I did it without kind of really sitting down to think about it carefully. And so I moved in with the person, and well, it was two people. I moved in with them, and at first it was fine. That was like in the first hour. And then when I got into the flat, it was like an apartment. When I got into the apartment, I ended up having to spend the first night on the couch because because the bed in my room had been taken out of there without me actually knowing. So basically I got to the apartment with all my suitcases and stuff, and there was no bed. And then I was told, oh, the bed's just been moved to the other room for the other person to sleep on, and I was meant to sleep on the couch that night, even though, like, if I knew, I would have just stayed at my parents' house for another night, or I would have stayed at my friend's house for another night, and I didn't know. So it already just started off just like, so I was sleeping on the couch, and I was just like, okay, like, it's fine. And I remember speaking to my friend, and she was just like, it's a bit weird behavior, like, I don't know why they didn't actually tell you about this stuff, but it just wait it out. So I waited it out, and it just became a bit more like just a stressful situation. And because the other two housemates already knew each other, it was kind of like I was on my ones, as we like to say in London, but I was kind of like on my own against them, even though it never really got to like arguments. But when little issues in the house would crop up, it would always kind of be me on one corner and them in the other corner, and there was obviously majority in their favor, so I was just always kind of like left in the cold, not literally, but you know what I mean. So it was just starting to get really annoying, and I was just starting to think like, why am I paying all this money to be treated like, to be kind of ganged up on in a way? And the thing is, it started to remind me of things that I had experienced before. And one thing I'm really starting to kind of like understand about myself, this probably applies to other people as well, like you as well watching, but one thing I'm learning about myself is sometimes I allow bad things to happen to me, if that makes sense. So sometimes I like allow people to treat me in a certain way, and I think I've heard like psychologists talk about this. So like it's like certain things that they start to do, like kind of like manipulating me, and it's not manipulating, but like they would be like, oh, I thought you knew that. I already told you that like 2 weeks ago, that that's not allowed in our house, that, you know, that's something we just don't do here. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you never said that to me ever. And like it would just take me back to times where like I was either like in school, or even like I've spoke about my third year of uni and the girls I was living it with. It just reminded me of that, of how people can like try and manipulate you to think something that's not actually true, and kind of like make you look crazy in while doing it. And because there's more of them than there are of you, you always kind of look like you are crazy. So I was just like, this is starting to, like, I remember speaking to my friend and I was like, this is starting to remind me of like when I was in school, and what, like when people would bully me, because it wasn't becoming a, oh, every so often there'd be an issue in the house. It was becoming like every day there was there was an issue with the tiniest thing I do, or with something they did, or maybe I would use something that I was told I could use, and it would just become a blown up argument. And I was just like, this is like the way I'm being kind of like ganged up on is starting to remind me of secondary school, or other times in my life where I feel like I've been taken advantage of. And I was like, I'm allowing this to happen. Like now that I realize this, I need to do something because I'm allowing this to happen. And I remember just like I wasn't there for long. And I just remember kind of just feeling sadder and sadder and sadder every single day. And I had other stuff going on as well. And obviously at that time, it was a really turbulent time because, not turbulent, but it was a very difficult time because my pornography was my addiction video was like blowing up, and it was in the news and, you know, in the Daily Mail and all this kind of stuff. And with all of that great, you know, publicity, or like that great exposure of my story and the issue of pornography itself, I became kind of like stigmatized. So like a lot of like Nigerian blogs would like badmouth me or call me a porn star. Like it was really, really hard. But obviously I did discuss this a tiny bit in my last video, but it was very, very difficult. In fact, I think to a small degree that period of my life was almost traumatizing. I was so happy and, you know, so grateful to God that that story and that issue has raised so much awareness and helped so many people, and even like brought so many people to Christ, and kind of opened people's eyes to what God can do in a person's life. However, it was very upsetting for me to constantly be judged either on the internet or by people around me or by, like, you know, social media sites. And, you know, that was very, very difficult, but God is healing me, and I'm getting like, you know, healing sometimes it isn't always on the outside, it's on the inside as well. So that took a while to like kind of get over, because it was really, really difficult. But I'm glad I had like the support of my friends, and that was really helpful. But yeah, getting back to my living situation. So one thing I also started to learn about myself, and maybe I am glad I moved out because I started to learn so much, is that like you need to be careful of who you let help you. And sometimes, yeah, I think that's it, like who you let help you and when they help you. Because sometimes and just like question people's motives, and always make sure you really know the person's heart. Because eventually, like in terms of where I was living and the situation, it was like, eventually she'd be like, well, you know, I was kind enough to let you live here after, you know, all the backlash that you were getting on social media, and like the hard time you were having, and how much you wanted to like be on your own and be independent. I was like nice enough to let you stay here, and now this is how you repay me, by like behaving like this. And I would literally watch like a DVD, and it would become like it would literally become a huge problem. Like literally a DVD. Like I couldn't even invite my friends to stay because it was just, the situation was just so toxic. So I moved out, and it really taught me a lot about people. And now I really like, especially because, and I hate to say this, but when you get to a certain point in terms of like a pedestal, or like in terms of your exposure, people kind of like to say, oh yeah, I helped them at X, Y, and Z point, and they kind of like to own a piece of your success or a piece of your story. And I'm not letting that happen again. And that really helped me learn who to trust and how to kind of know people's motives and stuff. But anyway, so I moved back home, and by Christmas had like a wonderful Christmas. Obviously I'm still a social media manager as well. One thing I did notice is like my channel is starting to grow a lot more. Like my channel kind of like doubled in size from before the Daily Mail article to afterwards. So I did feel pressure to kind of put out videos more and more, which was very, very difficult, because it's so hard like working from home. And it in a way it is really cool, but then it's also kind of like your work is also your home environment. So that's why I try and get out more. So right now I'm kind of like planning, like there's some stuff in the works for like in terms of like traveling, which is really exciting. So in the next few months you should be seeing that come to fruition. Obviously I was on the, not obviously, but if you follow me on Twitter, if you don't follow me, and if you don't follow me on Snapchat, because I Snapchatted my journey as well, if that makes sense. If you don't follow me on Snapchat, follow me as well. But I was on BBC and Sky like the week before last, so that was really cool. So I'm kind of like being asked to like commentate on issues that either have to do with young people or pornography or sexual abuse or kind of like the digital age and being on social media or a YouTuber, and kind of like a range of issues. But yeah, so that happened, so that was really cool, and that's something that's like starting to become more frequent now, like me being on TV and stuff. So that's really amazing, thank God. And yeah, like in terms of my relationship with God, it's been really good. I did have a really challenging time like over Christmas, but like it's like, as you probably already know, it's the hardest times are the best times in terms of, it was the best times, it was the worst times, it was the best times. Yeah, in terms of like getting closer to God, it just like when you're going through a hard time, it just pushes you closer to God, and it just teaches you to rely on God. And like for me, it really taught me like intimacy, like, and friendship, and yeah, just like literally having God's hand in your hand and just knowing he has you, and really like knowing God's heart. And yeah, so that was really, really good. So even though it was a tough time, I got closer to God, and like there's more of a intimacy and a friendship now, even more than before, which I didn't even know was possible. So that's amazing. And yeah, that's about it. And yeah, so there's stuff in the works in terms of traveling, and that's really exciting. I can't fully tell you now, but I will tell you as the weeks go on. But yeah, in terms of a life update, that's basically where I'm at the moment. Yeah, that's basically it. Well, thank you for watching, guys. I'm sorry this was a bit of a long video. And oh, I am going to Ireland next week for a little bit of a vacay and just to hang out with my friend Debs, who you saw in my USA vlog. So that's going to be really fun. So I'm going to be vlogging, so you guys will get to see all of that. So if you do want to make sure you are up to date with all of my videos, please do subscribe. And as I said, follow me on Snapchat as well. And thank you for watching. Bye, guys.